glutes, and I've been talking about the internal and external rotation of the thighs, so opening the hips. So essentially, you can see my feet, move that a little. External rotation is that way, internal is that way in, and this helps. We're using the abductors on the outside of the leg, the adductors, AD, on the inside of the leg, and helping to open through the hips and give us a more even movement with the legs. So we'll work on a few of those poses today. So coming to sit, we'll do our, done this before, our hip opener, where your legs are crossed deeply, so not just at the ankles. Flex the feet, and then take your bottom back a little, so your front shin is in line with the front of the mat. Sit up nice and tall. Inhale, and then as you exhale, reach your chest forward, but squeeze your core, lift up so your spine is long, and walk your fingertips away from you. Relax your head, and press the fingertips down and draw them back towards you, so you feel your shoulder blades slide down your back. And that lovely hip stretch. And then take fingertips back, cross the other way. So crossing deeply at the shins, making sure, flex the feet, the front shin is parallel to the mat, lift up. Start to lean forward, reach your arms, and walk your fingertips away, relax head, draw your shoulder blades down your back, press your fingertips in and drag that energy towards your feet. Okay, bring your hands back up now. For the next one, you might want to sit on your block or have a towel or cushion to sit on to get your hips high. You might want to double whammy, have a block with a towel on top of it. See how we go. So you're going to lay the left thigh down on the mat with a heel on the outside of the right hip. Point your toes, and then you're going to bring the knee round a little so it points more forward. This is called cow face pose. These are like the horns. You're going to lay the top leg down, but this is really intense through the outer hips, and you might find that the top leg doesn't want to come anywhere near. So sit yourself up and come into your version of it. So you might want to bring the left foot forward a little, flex the feet to protect the knee joints, and see, however high, even if the bottom leg isn't lying on the ground, just bring your knees on top of each other if you can. Sit up nice and tall. And then squeeze the knees into each other. Feel how this activates through the hips, the glute medius minimus on the glute medius on the outside of the hip. Just find your version of it, but flex the feet, keep the knees safe. Take the arms wide. And then you're going to bring the right arm under the left. Bend at the elbows. Bring the palms in towards each other, or the backs of the hand. Lift the elbows up to shoulder height. This is Garidasana, cow face pose. Okay, release the arms, lean back, uncross the legs. I could fall off. Okay, then other side. So if you can, you're going to lay that right thigh down. Point the toes to the side a little, and then bring the knee across so it's pointing more forward. And this is the point where you might want more height in your hips. But you're going to wiggle the knees so they're on top of each other, then flex the feet. Sit up nice and tall. As you feel the action of squeezing to the midline, and squeezing your knees into each other, take your arms wide. And then this time, you're going to bring the right arm on top of the left. Bend the elbows, press the palms in together, lift the elbows up to shoulder height. So that stretch through the shoulders, the upper back. Inhale, take the arms wide, palms down, lean back. And then coming off and come to stand at the front of your mat. Do 2 Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale to Uttanasana. Fold. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, palms down, step back. Rolling into plank, pressing up between the shoulder blades. Chaturanga to cobra or up dog. Exhale to down dog. Take 3 breaths. Start to paddle through the heels, walk your dog. Glance at your hands, make sure they're well placed. Then inhale, up on your toes, bend your knees, look forward. Come forward to halfway lift. Exhale to Uttanasana. Inhale to Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale to Uttanasana. Inhale to Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, come through Chaturanga. Inhale to up dog. Exhale to down dog. Take 3 breaths. Inhale, coming forward to Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale to Uttanasana. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Palms together. Exhale, hands to heart center. So from the front of the mat, coming into pyramid pose, Parsvottanasana, you're going to take the left foot back, but just a couple of feet. Take your feet hip distance apart, hands to your hips, and then lift up through the thighs, then turn your hips towards the front of the mat. The pyramid, this is for the outer of the thigh, the IT band. So lift the chest, squeeze your elbows towards each other, draw your shoulder blades down your back, then reach your chest forward. And pause here as you realign your hips, and make sure you're pulling up strongly through the thighs. Level your hips to the front, because your left hip will want to lift up and the right hip will want to roll around. So squeeze the thighs and then reach the chest forward a little. It becomes more intense. You can stay there, or if you want to fold, you can come forward. Oh, Raffles is dreaming. Little squeaks. So keep your hips level to the front. You can rest your hands, keep the core really engaged. You can use the block, Or if you're more flexible, drawing that right thigh bone up into the hip socket, you can take your fingertips down and then you'll start to fold. So then you really squeeze your core, relax your head and shoulders. Very intense. And then come out the way you went in, squeeze the thighs to the midline, lift up through the right thigh, hands to hips. Come up, exhale, step the left foot forward. Inhale, take the right foot back. Feet hip distance apart, the right toes are pointing slightly forward. Revolve the hips to face the front. Lift up strongly through the thighs, lift up through the core, relax your shoulders down and squeeze your elbows towards each other. Reach forward. And then either stay there or take your modification if you want to come to the block or start to fold. But you don't fold from here, just don't drop the head when you're at flat back. You want to extend the chest forward. Excuse me. Squeeze the thighs, come a little lower, and then when you feel you start to use that integrity in the spine, you'll suck your belly in and allow the chest to fold in, but lifting up through the pelvic floor, reach your hands down. Pulling up through the left thigh, leveling the hips. And inhale, come out the way you went in, lift up to a flat back, hands to hips, squeeze the thighs to the midline. Coming up, step to the front of the mat. Coming into a lunge, you're going to take the left foot back for high lunge. So you're up on the ball of the foot, feet hip distance apart. Think through the right knee. And then don't let that back knee bend. So lifting up through the back thighs, squeeze the pelvic floor, feel your outer hips here. Firm. Sink through the right knee. And then bring your arms up. So really lift through the pelvic floor, squeeze the thighs to the midline, look up at your thumbs and you'll feel as that centre of gravity goes up, it gets a bit wobbly. Keep that strength, squeezing the thighs towards each other, sink the hips. Then exhale, reach the left hand down under the left shoulder. Keep that length in the spine, keep the lift through the back thighs, squeeze the thighs towards each other and revolve up. So now you're wanting to bring the left side of the rib cage across the thigh. Don't let that right thigh fold out if you can help it. Okay, inhale, release with both hands down. Exhale, step to the front of the mat, hands to hips. Come up using your core. Then you're going to take the right foot back. So up on the ball of the foot, high lunge. Squeeze the thighs to the midline, lift up through the back thighs, sink through the left knee. Out to hips, think of that squeezing inwards. Inhale, bring your arms up, reach up and then slide the shoulder blades down your back, sink through the left knee and start to look up. So don't just drop your head back. You want to reach the chest up, sink the hips, feel that upper back curl. Inhale, and then as you exhale, bring the right hand down under the right shoulder, squeeze the thighs to the midline, sink through the left knee, revolve. Beg your pardon. Lift the left hand up. So reaching, press through the palm, lift up through the left fingertips, sink through the left knee. Bring the right side of the ribs across that thigh. Even in this position, draw your shoulders away from your ears. Inhale, exhale, fingertips down, step the right foot forward, hands to hips, coming up with control. And Vrikshasana, tree pose. So this is the one we know that we're working through the hips to keep our balance on one leg. So we're going to start standing On the right leg, so set yourself up properly. Find your drishti, your soft focus. Lift up through the core. So as you press through both feet, lift that energy up, squeeze the pelvic floor, and then relax your shoulders down, draw your elbows towards each other. Center of gravity goes over the right leg. Inhale, the left knee up. And just balance there for a moment, and then lift your right toes, spread them, place them down again. Then finding your tree, which can be heel into shin, sole of the foot, into the calf, below the knee, or up. But whichever way it is, you're now then going to activate your outer hips. As you pull up through the core, press the sole of the foot and the thigh into each other. And don't let this right hip sag out. Even take your hand to it. Feel, push yourself over. Feel that activation. Squeeze, 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 and then lift up through the pelvic floor. If you feel stable there, you can release your hands, turn the palms up, bring the arms up. Press the palms together. You can have James Bond hands, and if you can, you'll then release your gaze up to your thumbs. But feel the outer hip the whole time. Inhale, exhale, release the hands down to your hips, release the leg. So feeling there that external rotation in the lifted leg. And other side. Drishti, lift up through the core. Feel the energy coming all the way from the grounded feet. Take center of gravity over the right, left leg. Inhale the right. Then externally rotate the thigh to bring your foot. Problem is looking at myself, keep looking at myself instead of soft gaze. Can't help. Okay, so outer hip squeezes. And feel as well that as you lift up through the core, it's almost like you're not pressing your hips forward, but you're activating the glutes gently, which you'll feel this, the lifted leg. As you squeeze the outer hip, the glutes will engage, and you'll feel it as it externally rotates the thigh. And then release your hand and take your arms up. Geez, wobbly on that side today. Okay. Exhale. This is how not to do it. Release the foot down. And then just standing mountain for a moment. Close your eyes. Get that equilibrium back. Okay. Now, next balancing pose. Eagle, Garidasana. Same thing with your balancing poses, how you feel that lift up, lift the kneecaps, lift the core, bring your hands to your hips, center of gravity goes over the right leg, lift the left, and then feel before we're going to bring the leg over and wrap the foot round, but feel as you lift the knee up, then you're going to open through the hip a little, so it's a little rotation at the top of the thigh, so then you can bring the knee, hug the knees together, and then bring the left foot. So if it doesn't wrap all the way around, you can point the toes down. Okay, hands to hips, squeeze. So now you're feeling the thighs squeezing towards each other. Bring the knees a little bit back towards the front so you're not too twisted to the side. And sit down. You can always hang on to a piece of furniture if the balance is a bit dubious today. You'll just sit down, sit back. So you're trying to take the hips back a little. Okay, then inhale, come up. Exhale, take one more breath. Center of gravity goes over the left leg, lift the right. Open through the hips slightly, bring the knees towards each other. Hug. So bring that foot to the back of the, geez, what's wrong with this leg today? Okay, then you want to sit down. Bring your hips more back level to the front so the knee comes forward a little rather than off to the left. Sink down, draw your knees back a little so you're not overextending through the ankle. Okay, then inhale, come up. Exhale, release. Give the ankles a little wiggle. And then come into down dog. Place your hands well. You need to bend the knees a little, come up on the toes. Just to feel that back, the length in the spine. Then inhale, lift the right leg up. Bend the knee. Press firmly through both palms. Come up onto the left toes. Roll the right hip open. So you're pointing the right toes behind you. Look up under the right armpit. Inhale, roll the knee back round. Come back into down dog. Make sure you're pressing the index finger and the thumb down. Inhale, lift the left leg up. Come up onto the right toes. Bend the knee and then open through the left hip. Roll the hip open, point the left toe behind you. Push up strongly, particularly through the right palm. Then inhale, roll the knee back down, come back into down dog. Bring the right foot between your hands. We're going to step the left foot, so coming up now, we're going to do, I think I call this Anna's pose. It's good for golfers, for the hip stretch. So we're going to, it's twisted triangle. So the left foot is going to be pointing at an angle forward. Have your feet hip distance or even a little bit wider apart. You might want to have your block on the outside of the right foot. So now hands to hips, draw the hips level to the front of the mat, but don't just swing them round because you'll torque the knee. You want to lift up through the core, lift up through the thighs, and then draw the right thigh bone back up so the left hip comes forward. Inhale, keep your right hand on your hip, lift the left hand up. Draw the thighs towards each other and pull up strongly through the right thigh. Reach forward, squeeze your core, bring the left hand to the block. Now you keep drawing the right hip back and you can stay here if that's enough. If you can, you're going to reach the chest forward, squeeze the thighs back and start to revolve up. So right shoulder goes up, feel that twist through the spine. If you can, you'll release the top hand. But if your arm's at a weird angle, just keep the hand on the hip. That means you just not got enough rotation. Drawing the right hip back, very strong. Look up at the top hand, or if the next two compromise here, just look, gaze forward. Drawing the right thigh bone back. Inhale, look down. Exhale, release the hand down. Squeeze the thighs. Come up, step to the front of the mat. Other side. So just work with where you're at, making sure that you don't go to the ultimate expression of the pose if that's actually going to damage you. So just find what feels like it's doing good. Step the right foot back. Again, feet hip distance apart, right toes are pointing to the side and forward slightly, straighten the legs. Bring the block to the outside of the left foot. Hands to your hips. And lift up through the thighs. And rotate the hips to the front. So pressing through all four corners of both feet. When the hips are level to the front, feel how strongly you need to lift up the kneecaps, pull up through the thighs, the quads. Reach the right arm up. Pull up strongly through the thighs, reach the chest forward. Keep that integrity through the hips. As you come forward, you'll feel how the hips want to swivel. The left side of the hip wants to come forward, so draw it back. And then press through the right palm into the block. Straight arm. And start to revolve. Drawing that left thigh bone back. Release the top hand up. Look up. Shoulder blades draw towards each other. And away from ears. Inhale, look down. Exhale, bring both hands to your hips, squeeze the thighs. Come up, step to the front of the mat. And then come to sit. And then lie back. We'll do windshield wipers. So take your feet to the outer edge of the mat. Take your arms wide, palms down. And then using your breath, you're going to slowly drop the knees to the right. Inhale, lift to the center. Drop to the left. Inhale, lift. Exhale, drop to the right. So just following your own breath. Just working out any tension in the hips, just relaxing. And close your eyes. And then bring your knees back up. Feet, thighs parallel, and then just bring the right ankle across the left thigh. Flex the foot. Thread the needle so you're holding the back of the left thigh and draw that thigh towards you. Use your right arm to press out. Keep that thigh away from the body, the right thigh. And release. Other side. Make sure the lifted leg, the left leg is flexed, the foot is flexed to protect the knee. Inhale, exhale, release. Hug your knees in, a little rock, and then come to sit. Close your eyes, sit nice and tall. Inhaling deeply, exhaling completely. Bring your palms together at your heart center, lowering your head and opening your eyes. Namaste.